may take us some time. So let's get started already. Okay. So it's like we all know, it's going to be 7 days free web dev training, and basically we're going to be focusing on the front end side of the training. We hope to have another for the back end track as well, but that information will still be communicated to us, maybe for those that might be interested for the back end training. So the next question now is, who am I? Okay, my name is Samuel M. Ortil. The M stands for Msonte. It's a tribe in Benue State. I'm actually here from Benue State. And I'm the team lead of ICT Zoid. I'm a software engineer. I've been into the ecosystem for almost 5 years plus and counting still. I worked both as a front end and as a back end engineer with different companies, both within Nigeria and outside of Nigeria. That's the beauty of tech. You get to work with diverse teams from different locations, right? All working from the comfort of my home. Basically, I work remotely. And then I started up this ICT. I love teaching. I love learning. I've been a teacher, like a normal classroom teacher how about up to 6-7 years of classroom teaching experience, where I taught mathematics and computer science. Maybe if anyone on the call is from Ile-Ife or Shun, I also lectured at Obafemi Awolowo University, where I taught web design. In one of the entrepreneurship courses that was introduced in the school. That was in 2019, 2019. And then if you're conversant with Federal University of Technology, Akure, I also taught web design at one of the resource center in Ile-Ife called Classic. Classic Infotech. Okay, so that's all about me. So about ICT Zoid, basically, ICT Zoid, we have a simple but a powerful mission. Our mission looks, it's a bit simple though powerful. We intend to empower individuals and businesses with the knowledge and tools that are needed to excel in the world of software development. By individual, that's by training. By businesses, we also build different products, right? Maybe you have an idea, you can buzz us, we jump on the call, we guide you, and during the product requirement gathering phase down to the development and maintenance of the project. Then who we are just a dynamic team of highly skilled and experienced software engineers. Definitely we're going to meet the team. We'll definitely meet the team of different software engineers. We have front-end engineers, back-end engineers, we have mobile engineers. So we are not just some guys that woke up one day, watched some YouTube stuff, and then decided to gather a bunch of people, and then we're actually working with different companies, and then we're building our own, trying to share this knowledge, right? So like I said earlier, what we basically do is we work within the software engineering training, and then we build labs. We run the software development assistance, and by assistance, it means we guide our clients from the project initiation down to the development and then the building. That's basically about ICT Zoid. Don't worry, as you get to learn so much more about us and you get to meet the team. I'm also hoping that maybe when we're done with this 7 days training, I'll put on board a lot of different engineers from working from different locations, come on board, and then we'll have a chat with them. They'll tell us how their day-to-day life is like, how to get a job and all that. So don't worry, we still get to that part. So once again, guys, trust me, I'm really excited. I'm super excited, really excited. I want to say a very big welcome to you for taking that bold step to hit the link, register, and then be here with us today. I want you to understand we really appreciate you. We love sharing knowledge, we love to learn, and we believe that it's not about how long you started, right? But this is a good start. Trust me, from 2 years after now, if maybe you're just entering the tech space as a starter, trust me, the results will be remarkable. It's all about consistency, yet let me not say it's a juicy thing, right? Sometimes it may be very taxing, but it's all about consistency. It's fun, guys. Imagine you waking up, sitting in your bedroom, doing all the work, getting paid in nairas, in dollars, whatever, right? So it's fun. So I want to say a very big thank you for hitting that link and registering, and then being patient enough to wait in the WhatsApp group until this day, and then for you buying the data to subscribe and then stay on this call with me. I'm so sorry, I should have turned on my camera. Yeah, I'm a bit camera shy, but definitely I will do that at some point, right? Turn on my camera and then you get to see the young man behind the screen. Okay, so welcome, guys. So right, let's get straight into the agenda. We have, I really want to keep to time, so I'll try as much as possible to be a little bit fast. This call is recorded, so I'm sure that after this conversation, we'll see if we can have the videos. Maybe if maybe it was too fast, you can rewatch and then follow up. That that'll be like after the whole training, right? You still have the video somewhere to watch them and then follow. Maybe if at any point you get to miss me or something. All right. So today, day one, if you look at our flyer, what we basically have on the flyer is introduction to HTML. That's just what is there. But it won't be so nice if I just jump straight into my VS Code and then start typing a bunch of rubbish without giving you good heads up. Yeah, we really need to understand. Going by default, I understand some people already have good working knowledge with this. Some are students, so you maybe you must have come across some of these concepts. And then some people are it's a bit new to them. Please, Alabi, could you kindly stop writing on my screen? I think maybe I need to disable that. Okay, thank you. Oh, sorry, let me quickly clear that up. Yeah, great.
Sorry, please, it was a mistake.
Yeah, I understand. It's fine. Great. All right. So basically these are the agenda I prepared for our first day. Basically, I want us to talk about software development lifecycle. When you see things like Facebook out there, you see different people building a whole lot of stuff. How did all those things come into being, right? How did it started? What were the stages or what were the phases involved? And then how did it all materialize to that app you now finally installed and you're making use on your platform? So that life cycle, that's what we intend to cover in this software development life cycle. Then the other thing I want us to hit and look at is how the web works. Yeah, you jump on your browser, you jump on your mobile device or your PC, you hit your Google Chrome or whatever browser you make use of, and then you search for informations online, you see pages, you watch videos. So what's actually happening? How does that web works? Like, what's behind the scene? What's happening, right? So we could just give you a brief intro into it. Then we'll also look at what is web development. What is it all about? And then we'll now land on our topic of the day, which is introduction to HTML, right? Okay, so let's get started. So first off, software development lifecycle. Yeah, I'm not a fan of plenty write-ups, so the slide could be a bit very scanty. So I just hope you pay keen attention, right? And then you can as well jot down your questions, maybe after each sub topic, right? Maybe after the whole, let's do it this way. After the whole top part of it, I'll attend to your questions. You can put them down. You can also, maybe something prompts your mind you want to ask. You can as well drop it in the chat section. I'm also looking at the chat. So we'll address all those questions, right? So basically, this is just a typical software development lifecycle. It all begins with the first phase here. The first phase, this guy here, it all begins here, which is the requirement analysis. So here at this point, somebody just come up with an idea. Oh, yeah, I noticed that there's a problem in this particular place. Why can't we build something like an e-commerce platform where people living in this locality can go online to advertise the stuff and sell their stuff? That's an idea. So the next thing now is we have to gather requirement. Okay, now if we build this product, what are going to be the functionalities of this product we want to build? So these are like the functional requirements. Then we'll see how things like the non-functional requirements, right? So, but the key thing, what should a user do landing on the page? What are the functionalities? Okay, we could say you should have something like maybe some sort of authentication. By authentication, I mean a user should be able to sign up and sign in. Then some sort of maybe user profile, storefronts, and the likes. With let's integrate some sort of payment gateway. Those are all requirements of the system, right? So it first begin with collecting the requirements. So then you plan, right? So after you now from that phase, there's a planning phase, right? It's a planning phase. Then there's an architectural phase. Then I'll use a typical example to explain all these stages. So, but let's just flow with me. There's an architectural design phase. Then there's a software development phase. This is where you get to write all the entire code. Then at this design phase, this is where maybe I also noticed some UI guys, some user interface, that UI/UX professionals also registered. So when we're talking about UI, it's like trying to draw some sort of an architecture, right? Maybe a building plan. Okay, we have planned this thing. Okay, let's say you want to build a house, for example. Okay, I want to build a 4-bedroom. That's an idea. I meet an architect. Can you please draw me a plan for this building? So that's where this phase comes into play, right? Then after that, during that phase, you now get the builders that now build the house. That's the development, right? They build. You now get the roofers. They come the roof fits. It's still part of this phase, right? So now there's a testing phase, and then there's a final deployment. Don't worry about all those terms. We'll look at it maybe in the next slide. The next slide will make a lot more sense, right? Because let me see, what do I have next? Yeah, good. This is just a tree house. This is just a tree house, right? So now let's just imagine that you want to build a cool tree house like this. And so the software development life cycle is just kind of like building this tree house step by step. So what will be the first step? The first step is planning, right? So first you need to think about what your tree house will look like, what the cool features it should have. This is where you decide what you want the tree house to do and how it will work, how it should look like, the functionalities, how it should work, right? That's the first stage, the planning phase. Going back to, that's like the planning phase. You pop up the idea, that's like the planning phase. So then the next phase, which will have the design phase here, right? So it's like maybe after you have done all your planning, you now draw some pictures or make a blueprint of the treehouse. Yeah, just draw, okay, yeah, it should look something like this. You're just sketching out something, right? So this shows all the parts that will fit together and and what materials you will need in building this treehouse. That's the design part now. You just make some sketch and then showing all the various parts that you need to bring all this in together. So that's like this phase. So we have the software development phase here now, which is more like the building phase, right? It's more like the building phase. So now it's time to start building the treehouse. You have gathered all the materials like the wood, the nails, the paints, and then you put everything together. So that's like, at this point, it's like maybe the front end guys are now typing the codes. They are writing the code, and the back end guys are also writing the code, building APIs and all that, right? So that's like the software development phase of the whole project. So now the next phase, we said, is the testing phase. Yeah, so once the treehouse is built, you and your friends can play inside to check if maybe if you step on some displays Maybe is this wood strong enough to accommodate certain width? That's like you're trying to test different faces, right? Are the windows closing well? Are the doors well closed? And is it a safe and a fun place to play? That's like you trying to test the so the same logic now works for software. You plan it, you do a prototype of it at the design phase, you now develop it at the software development phase, you now test it. Now that you have tested, you can now push it to development where people can start using it. So at this phase, why testing it? If you encounter, oh, maybe this wood is not so strong enough. Okay, let's remove it and fix another stronger wood. That's like testing and fixing. So if you find any problem during the testing, you can go back and fix them and make the treehouse better, right? So then finally, this is like the deployment. In simple terms, it's like the launching. You push it, you launch it out, right? So in simple terms, and when you launch it, there's still room for doing some maintenance, right? You check the product. That's why sometimes you see, okay, this app they were using yesterday, there's a version 2 today, there's a version 3, there's a version 1 point something, 2 point something, right? So you now keep iterating. So this phase, that's why you see it mostly like in form of a circle, right? Even after development, you still do run some analysis, you still plan for new features, design the new features, develop them again, test the new features, push them back to development, and then this circle continues running. So basically, that's like the typical software development life cycle of any product you have seen out there. Any product you've seen out there. And then around this circle, so many jobs pops up from here. In the planning phase, that's where you see some people tell you that, oh, I'm into tech, but I'm a product manager. Oh, they are the guys that do all those planning, mapping out things, collecting all the requirements. I'm a product manager and all that. I'm a UI UX designer. They're the ones that design the prototype, right? Then I'm a software engineer. I can be a front-end engineer, a back-end engineer, a database administrator, all those ones that they are the guys that fall here now. So here now, there are still another job roles. You have here people say I'm a QA tester and all that. The test that's quality assurance. They do all the testing. Then if you come to this phase again, you see people telling you, oh, I'm a DevOps engineer, I'm a cloud engineer. They're the ones that handles the deployment and make sure everything is seated well in the cloud. So you see, around this circle, there are different people. So if maybe somebody say like, okay, I work with a cross-platform team, oh, which means I sit in the position where I work with these different guys, right? I hope that makes a lot of sense. So basically that's it for software development life cycle. I don't know, if I was a bit too fast, but I believe you must have picked something. And if you have questions, kindly put them down so we could also address to all of them, right? Wait. So I hope that was fun. Can I proceed? Am I too fast? You can drop a message in the chat so I'll know if I'm actually making sense. Am I making any sense? Can leave a message in the chat for me. All right, I'll just give a minute to do that. If that made sense. If it didn't make sense, please tell me that, hey, Sam, that thing didn't make sense. Can drop a message in the chat. Yeah. Okay, yeah, I can see your messages popping. Okay, great, great, great. Oh, I'm confused. Sorry, don't worry, I'll still run a recap. Okay, okay, great, thank you. All right, great. All right, so let's move. So the next thing on our agenda is how the web works. How does the web works? How does the web works? Yeah, this may look a bit very funny, right? So I just dropped this image here. It's just a typical example that I intended to use to explain how the web works. It's quite simple. It's like maybe, sorry, I'm trying to put up my second screen. Sorry, give me a minute. Okay, sorry. I needed to fix how I was having a little technical issue. Okay, basically, this is just how the web works. It's like maybe if you look at the left side of this road now, maybe that's where this young lady lives. Maybe the house is at the left side. Then looking at the right side now, maybe it's like there's a shop she's actually walking into, right? So it's like maybe you now sitting in front of your PC and then making some requests. Okay, let me continue with this analogy. It will make sense when I bring everything together. So it's like this lady leaves her house, crosses the road, and then enters the shop. Like she leaves her house, which is at the left side. She walks to a shop that's at the right side. So that's like the one end of the road is like the client, which is the house, the client. When I mean client, it's like the front end of your device. It's like you looking at your Google Chrome and trying to type in a message. So what you're looking at is the front end. And it's like so the front end is usually refers to as the client side, client as in CLIENT, right? So this one end of the road is like the client side, right? Which is like the house. Then the other end of the road is like the server, which is like the shop that you want to buy something from, or she wants to buy something from, right? So now when you connect to the internet, right, and then make a request, that's like you leave your house and then you walk to a shop. That's your request is like you leaving your house and then you walk into a shop. And then you now ask the store owner or the shopkeeper that, hey, I want to buy this. So you have two responses. Definitely the shop owner is going to reply you. And it could be one of any of these two responses. It's either, okay, here, this is what you requested. This is the price for it, right? Or you could get a message like, oh, sorry, what you requested, we do not have it at the moment. Right? So it's like, so basically the internet now is like you making use of your browser, sending a request, that's making a Google search that, hey, can you tell me what's the full meaning of HTML, for instance? You just type that in your browser, right? You just type that in your browser, okay? Then the browser now returns a response. So that's like the storekeeper, which is the server side, the back end, now replying your message that, oh, HTML stands for hypertext markup language. Or maybe if you made a request for something that is not in existence on the server, on the internet, you'd be like, sometimes you see page not found. Yeah, most times I'm sure you must have noticed that maybe you're trying to register on a particular platform and then maybe the traffic is too much and they will tell you that, oh, the server is down. At that point, you can't get responses and all that. So basically, the internet also makes use of different transfer protocols. So when you type that message, there's a protocol that picks that message and sends it to the server, right? We have a HTTP, that's maybe hypertext transfer protocol. That's most times if you open a particular website, you see a padlock. That's like, yeah, the bodyguard that helps you make those requests, right? So there's an engine or there's a messenger in between that picks your request and take it to the server and then fetches the response from the server and brings it back to you. Yeah, I know this thing is not really making sense, but don't worry, don't think about it too much. Basically, it's just like you leaving your house, entering a store, requesting for something. You are bound to get one of the two responses. It's either what you requested for is available and it's handed to you, or it is not available. So whichever way you're going to get a response, right? Whichever way you're going to get a response. So that's just a typical way of how the web works, right? Yeah, I know that may not make so much sense, but we'll still revisit that. Okay. So please put down all your questions in case you have any. So the next thing on our list is, what is web development? If I'm too fast, please drop a message in the chat. Tell me I'm too fast and I'll find a way to. I'm just trying to work with our time. And I'm sure this call is also recorded and you're going to have a lot of those. So what is web development? It just involves simple processes. It involves designing, building, testing, and maintaining a website. It could be a website or a web application, right? Which ranges from just a simple page website or to a complex full stack application. And there are two broad categories to this. We have the front end and then the back end, right? The front end and the back end. So this is how these guys connect. The front end, basically, which is the client side, it's like the interface you're looking at. Then the back end is where the web server and the database are hosted, right? So the front end, this makes a request to the back end. The back end returns a response, and this response could either be, okay, here's what you requested, here is it, or what you requested for, we don't have it, or you don't have the privileges to make that particular request. So the front end of an application is basically what you're looking at. Maybe when you pick your browser, for instance, and type www.facebook.com, what loads up, what you're actually looking at is the front end, right? You now put in your username and your password in the field, and when you click submit, it now makes a request to the back end. Then the back ends check if those credentials are correct. If they are correct, they logs you in. If they are not correct, they throw you an error that invalid login credentials. That's just how the whole connection works, right? Wait. And so this is where we jump into the main topic of today, HTML. So let me take a break and then see if there are any questions or if we can push ahead, right? Okay, let me see, can you please help bring up the last image? Okay, do you mean this? Okay, what about the database? So basically, when you're talking about the database, for instance, when you create an account on Instagram, for instance, during that sign up phase, you supply your username, your password, your email addresses, possibly, or maybe your phone number or whatever you may have made use of it. All those informations are collected and stored somewhere. So that bank where all those informations are stored, that's where we refer to as the database. All the data are collected and stored in the base, right? In the container, somewhere in the cloud. That place where all these informations are stored is referred to as the database, right? I hope that makes sense. Okay, so not this one, the previous one. Okay, you mean this? Don't worry, I'll try to share this slide, although it's quite scanty, but maybe if you take a look at it.
I just wanted to screenshot it. I've done that. Thank you, sir.
Okay, you have done. Okay, that's great. Well done. All right. Great. So
but you are recording it, sir, right?
Yes, the call is being recorded. So we'll still share the
after everything, you will still give us this thing for the person asking about the picture.
Yeah, sure. You can still get to watch the video after the whole meeting. Okay. So now we talked about the front end and then the back end. So basically, this 7 days training is more or less trying to give us a good introduction, a good working knowledge of the front end, how to build the front end of a web application or a website, for instance, right? And then any website you see out there, the front end, these are the key technologies. There's just none, there's no website out there without these technologies. HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Whether you're a WordPress guy, you know that WordPress still has some sort of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, right? So there's just, this is like the core technology of web development, the core technology of web development, HTML. So if you look at this, this image, for example here, HTML basically is used in building the structure. It's like you want to maybe build a human being, right? It's like trying to arrange the skeleton, give the structure of how the website is going to look like. You use it to just build the structure. Remember, it is not a programming language. It is a markup language. The H stands for hyper, the T text, M markup language. So HTML stands for what? Hypertext Markup Language. And it is not a programming language. It is a markup language, right? I hope that makes sense. All right, great. I want to assume that makes sense. All right, then if you're talking about CSS, so now we have used HTML in building the structure of the human being. The next thing we need to do is to make this guy look, we can't just have a skeleton walking. Imagine you just wake up one day and see a skeleton walking in the street. Imagine the chaos is going to cause. See everybody running here, that's scatter, right? So we now need CSS to make this skeleton look beautiful. Wear it, all the clothes, all the colors. So most times all the colors, the fine colors you see on the website are being are being designed using CSS, cascading style sheet. It is styling sheet, right? You make use of CSS to now give beauty to this skeleton. That's where you now give it all the flesh, you give it all the skin color, different skin colors. Some could be dark, fair, very fair, light, and all that, right? Then hair, you give it beautiful hairstyle and all, wear shoes. That's the work of CSS. Basically, what CSS does is giving beauty to the skeleton. And the skeleton is what? HTML. We build the skeleton of the site with HTML. We use CSS to make it look beautiful. And then finally, at this point, what you have is just a dummy, right? He can't move, he can't think, he can't dance, he can't do anything. It's just a dummy. You just build some skeleton and they made it look beautiful. So we need to inject some sense into this human being. And that's where JavaScript now comes into play. With JavaScript, this dummy HTML and CSS, it's now brought to life, right? Brought to life in the sense that, okay, it can make decisions. There's some sort of decision. There are some sort of event. If a user clicks, this should pop up. If a user submits a form and maybe some fields were not filled, it now pops up that, oh, you didn't fill this particular field. Username is required. Kindly input your username and all that. So at that point, our HTML and CSS knows how to make decisions, right? So that's just the work of JavaScript, to inject some sense into this dummy. Remember, HTML builds the skeleton, CSS makes it look beautiful, gives all the hair, different hair colors, the skin colors, and all that decoration, right? And then JavaScript now injects some sense into this dummy that was built with HTML and CSS. I hope that makes sense. Okay,
Yes.
Great, thank you. All right, so to dive deep into HTML, basically, we'll be looking at what is HTML, and which I believe we just did justice to that. We'll look at the HTML document structure. That's basically how the structure of HTML, how it's been written. Then we'll look at text while dealing with HTML, we'll look at text formatting and elements. We'll look at how to add media, divisions, table, forms, and input. I just wish we can cover up all of this because that was the plan for today. Ideally, would have been able to, but I just brought in some of those first introductory part to give you a better understanding of the entire journey of the software development, the entire journey of the internet, and the entire journey of the web development, right? So we'll be looking at HTML today. So we'll be looking at the document structure, right? So at this point, you permit me to stop sharing so I can share my full screen, and then we'll jump straight in and start writing some HTML codes. So let me stop sharing and then share my full screen. Let me close. There are some jobs I was doing. I need to close them up. Great. Okay. All right, I'll share my full screen now. Wait. Okay, I think I can exit this slide. Yeah, so basically that's it for that slide. The next work is, okay, so okay, no, let me not going to write in CMD commands. All right, so first thing, I want to create a folder on my desktop. So maybe I can call this folder ICT training. So throughout this week, we'll be making use of this folder. Let me keep it here. So now, before now, I asked us to download VS Code, Visual Studio Code, right? I think I was able to give a good code. I don't know if we'll still remember, right? So from the message I sent, I tried to paint it to some sort of a special tool, right? Like imagine, oh, sorry, this was some code I was writing. Sorry, this was, let me close this.
But sir, sorry, is it possible for you to start after like coming up with a fresh VS Code?
Okay, let me see.
So that we'll start afresh in coding, because it's not everybody that knows anything about coding.
Okay, yeah. Actually, that was what I wanted. Yes. So this is it, right? I believe you cannot see my screen. So I just open, let me do that again. So it's like, okay, I look for VS Code on my system. This is VS Code after you have installed. So new Windows, I just open fresh VS Code. So when you launch your VS Code, this is what you're going to look at. And then when I was trying to explain what a code editor is, I said we should consider this to be like some magic book, right? Where you write down instructions for your computer to understand and follow. And this magic book is called a code editor. This is a code editor. There are a whole lot of them out there. There's Sublime Text, there's Notepad++, there's Atom. There are a whole bunch of them out there. But I would recommend you to make use of this because of a whole lot of reasons, right? It has some extensions. If you over here, these are extensions that when you install them, they help make life very easy for you. Don't worry, I'll show you the, I'll be making use of some of these extensions, and then I'll be giving you the name of those extensions. I'll also show you how to install them, right? Then.
Sorry, sir, can you maximize this, your VS Code page?
Okay, great. Is this better?
Yes, it's better now.
All right,
Even
so,
if you can zoom.
You're wise.
okay, let me straight this. Okay, great. Yeah, so if you launch this up, you have this interface, right? So this is extensions. So here, this helps you to install. Don't worry, I'll explain what extensions are when we'll start writing our actual work. So then this is where this is an explorer that helps you. If I click here now, you can open a folder here, right? Like that folder we created on our desktop. I want to open the folder here. I can now click on open folder. Then I'll navigate to where that folder is. The folder is on the desktop. Okay, the folder is on the desktop. Yeah, this was the name I gave the folder. I called it ICT Zoid Training. So now, okay, let me select the folder. Okay, great. So now, yeah, this pop will always come up. Remember, it will always come up. It's very normal. It's very normal, right? So you always see this pop up. Yeah, you can say yes. It's just basically asking you, do you trust the author of the files in this folder? Yeah, you're the one that created the folder. Are you trying to tell me you don't trust yourself? So you say, yes, I trust the author, as simple as that. And then to install VS Code, I think I sent us the link to install VS Code, right? So all what you need to do is once you just click on the link, it will take you to, let me open up. Let me not assume. Okay, so when you, for example, VS Code, you can just, okay, Google search it. VS Code. Yeah. So when you open the VS Code side, you see this, right? So all what you need to do is just hit on this button here. Once you hit on it, you see it will start downloading. Let me see. Yeah, look at this is it now. It's asking me to, yeah, you keep the file, then it will start downloading straight away here. We already have it, so there's no need of me downloading it again. So once you download VS Code, you right click on it. Then you see run as an administrator. Then the next command is just keep hitting on the next till you see finish. That's just maybe the simple way I could, okay. The basic simple way to install. Once you just install it, right click, see run as run as administrator, right? So may just hit that run as administrator, a pop-up will come. Where you hit yes, do you want to allow this to make changes to your computer? Yes. Then the next thing is a prompt will come. Just keep hitting next until you reach the finish, right? That's maybe for those of us making use of Windows device. If you're making use of a Mac device, once you download it, you just drag it to your app store, and then that's just it. But if maybe we're having issues with that, I can still find a way to maybe just do a short video on how to install VS Code and share with us, right? But basically, this is just VS Code, which is a code editor, like magic book that helps us write our code, right? So yeah, when you open up, you see have this welcome environment. Yeah, basically, this is not what we want at the moment. You can click this and close it, right? So this was the folder we opened. So now if you hover over this, you can see new file where you can create a file. Then you can see folder. This is a folder, new folder, where you can create a folder. So let's see if I click on this new folder, for example, and then may you click on this new folder, you have a cursor blinking here. You can now type in maybe this is like my day_1. It's not usually advisable. Okay, maybe I want to write day1 now. I write day space 1. No, right? Day, if you want to put two words together, it's either you could write using use a camel case by camel, something like this. Let me show you. This is day 1. You see, a camel usually have a hunchback. So you see the second word begin with a capital letter. This is camel case, right? Or maybe I could just, okay, if I don't want to do that, I could simply write day_1. This is a folder, right? I hit enter. Now this folder has been created. Let's say I minimize this guy here and then open this folder. You can see the folder I just created is right here. I hope that makes sense. I've not done anything. It's just right here, right? So if I go back to my VS Code, this is the folder. So now I want to create a file, a HTML file inside of this day1, right? So now I can select on this day1 and then come back to this place, new file, right? Hit new file. So now I want to call this my file day1.html. Now, if you ask me, why do I put .html? This is an extension. If you look at maybe your Google Doc, your Microsoft Word document, for instance, if you check that property, they have extensions. See something like .doc. Even pictures have .jpg, .jpeg, .png. All those are extensions. So now, when you save a file with this extension .html, let me go back to that folder. You see something. This is a folder. Can you see the file now took the shape or the design of my Chrome browser, because Chrome is the default browser on my system. So whichever browser is the default browser on your system, once you save that file with the .html, the browser already, because that file is meant for the browser, it already understands that, oh, this file, it is the browser that is going to open it up. Remember when you save, I don't know if I have any documents here. Oh. Let me check. Okay, now, for example, if you save an Excel file, this is an Excel file. The extension is .csv, right? Now, Excel just take the shape of the Excel to tell you that, oh, Excel understands this file, that this file is meant for me, right? Something like that. The same way, Mail will save that file as .html. The browser says, oh, this file is for me. right? Your default, any browser that's default on your system is definitely going to take that, right? So back to our VS Code. So now in writing our HTML code, okay, we first begin with the doc type. Oh, sorry, that was the job of an extension. It just made, like I said, those extensions make work pretty easy for you to do. So let me wipe out that and try to explain it step and try to write it step by step, right? So basically, we are looking at the document structure, right? So for the document structure of HTML code, it all begins with a doc type. That's like less than sign, exclamation, doc type, HTML. And what this simply means is like, it's a declaration. This is a declaration. And usually put at the beginning of a HTML document to specify the version that is being used. For example, this is HTML5, right? That's why we are trying to declare the version we are making use of, right? So then after this, you now have the HTML. Close this. Now you see there's an opening and then there's a closing. Both of them look the same. The only difference between these two guys is the closing one has a / here. After the less than sign, there's a /, right? So, and this HTML, this is what we refer to as an element. This is an opening tag. Opening tag. This is what I'm saying. Opening tag this way. And then the other one now, this is a closing tag. With the one with the /. Both of them forms what we refer to as a HTML element. And this is the root element of HTML. When I mean root, this is like the entry point. Okay, let me use a typical human being scenario. This is like the head to where this is like a human being. When you look at a human being, okay, yeah, don't worry, it's going to make a lot of sense after the next few lines, all right? So after this entry point, we have the head here. Sorry, not caps. We have the head. The head also has an open and a closing tag. So the human being has a head.
Sorry.
The human being has a head, right? Then the human being has a body. So there's a body as well. So this is the body. So if I save this, this is our HTML document structure. So in between this place, you can still have a title. Remember the head, the normal human being head has eyes and nose on the head section. So this is like the head section. And then we have eyes here, right? So you could look at this as maybe the eyes, the title element. So basically, for the title is basically placed in between this head element, right? And is used to define the title of the web page. And it usually appears as a title of the browser tab. Don't worry, let me show you what I'm trying to talk about here. Let's say maybe I put in between this title now. So whatever you want, your content goes between the opening and the closing tag. Let's say maybe I write, this is like the one, and then I save this. Okay, now to launch my work, I can go back to this place here and then click on this. May I click on it? Let's see what will happen. My browser opened up. Right? Oh. My browser opened up. Now, that's the one I wrote. Look at it here. You can see the one. That's the title. Okay, let me say I change that. Let me come down here. Let's say I change it to the one HTML and I save it. Let me refresh this so that our changes will come. I refresh. You can see the one HTML. So now you see these other pages are open here. It means in the HTML of this particular VS Code website, this document for Visual Studio Code was written in the head, in the title section. If you look at this and this as well, right? I believe you understand where all these things are coming from. So it means this document for Visual Studio Code was written in between this title section here. That's where it was written. So now, what about the content showing on this place here, on the page itself? Now, if I want content to show on my page, I will now write it inside the body. So whatever you write inside the body is shows on the page. Let me write, okay, this is the one, and I save. Let's go. I have to refresh this guy. Refresh. This is the one, right? So basically, anything you write within the body section here shows on the page. Anything you write in this title section, that's what is going to show here, right? So basically, this head, we understand the head section and then the body section, right? Okay. So then this is like the basic structure of our HTML code. The HTML has the entry point. This is like saying, okay, this is a human being. The human being has a head, and then it has the body. And by body, we mean from something like from neck down, right? And then by the head, we mean like from neck up. That's the head, and then neck down, that's like our body. That's the basic structure of HTML. Okay. So what do we have next on our page? Then the next thing we should be talking about is text formatting and elements. So when you're talking about, sorry?
Yeah, I think they said there's some tank that only has opening and there's no closing, like break.
Yeah. So we're going to look at that part, right? So we basically what we just looked at is the HTML document structure. We just look at the structure. So we'll be looking at the HTML formatting and then elements, right? Okay. And I'm also trying to catch up with our time because we are almost running short of our time already. So now when we're talking about the HTML text formatting, by text formatting now, hello guys, can you still hear me?
I think it's great.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Okay, great. Okay, great.
Yes.
I had a little issue with my network.
Hear you, but there is a lot of jamming.
There's a lot of jam, right? But is it clear? You can hear me very clear.
Clear. It's maybe
Yeah.
it should.
That's because all of us are trying to talk at the same time. So just allow
Okay, all right. Please don't worry. Let's just mute. We'll continue and let's so that we can catch up. I don't really want to keep us here for so long. Right? That wasn't the plan. The plan was to keep within the 1 hour, but because today is the first day and I brought in other concepts, that's why we're actually running. We have just 5 minutes to 9, and then we haven't covered the key things, right? But let's try and see how much we can do. All right, so basically I'm talking about text formatting and elements. So when you're talking about text formatting, that's like the different ways you can arrange your text and then the various elements we have out there. That's just like what I'm trying to talk about now, text formatting. In simple terms, the different way I can arrange my text, right? And then the other different elements we have out there. In writing your letters, maybe when you pick a textbook, for example, you have sometimes you see big headings, right? So even HTML, you can specify heading tags. If you look at this side that we're looking at, for example, you see this text looks bigger than what we have here, right? Okay, so that's like the text formatting, right? Now it means in HTML we also have things. May I type H? You can see we have H, the H elements, and it ranges from H1 down to H6 to format our heading tag. This is for heading, right? So let's say maybe I write here heading 1, for example. I save this guy, and then sorry, heading 1. Oh, sorry. Okay. Okay, let's say I write here heading 1, for example, and then I save. Trying to, and then I save it. Okay, let's check the browser to see what we have. I refresh this guy. See, this is heading 1. Okay. Okay, let's say we now have something like H2, heading 2. I save this guy. Let me write heading 2. I've saved this. Let me refresh this, heading 2. You can see this, right? Now, you'll notice that as the number is increasing, the sizes are decreasing. Heading 3. I'll save this guy. I refresh this. You see, it's decreasing. So it ranges from H1 down to H6. H4, we call this heading 4. H5, we call this guy heading 5. H6, let me call this guy heading 6. Now, if I refresh, you see, so it's like H1 seems to be the biggest. There's something else you may notice. Immediately we make changes, we have to come here and refresh. That's annoying. Does it mean that's how we're going to keep doing that? No. Now, that brings us back to what I was trying to talk about, extension. So if you can open your extension, you can check here. You can set there's something called live server. This is it. Oh, yeah, live server. This is it. Already it's installed on my system. That's why you can only see the uninstall and disable. But let's say maybe it's not installed. Sorry, who's trying to talk? Kindly mute this.
I would like to ask questions based on those syntax.
The syntax?
The heading, that's the H1 to H6.
Okay, all right, shoot quickly.
What is actually the work of this H1 to H6? Does it mean we cannot use our CSS to, as in, to resize whatever we wrote in our HTML?
Good question, right? Yes, you can. Basically, yeah, you can mute now. Okay, yes. The question is, what's actually use of this H1 when I can actually write my normal heading and then use CSS to make it look as big as I want it to be or as small as I want it to be. But now you're writing for the web and then there are search engine plurals, right? SEO, search engine, to optimize your visibility. When a search engine, maybe when a web crawler lands on your site, it now checks it's like maybe there's a bot that checks your website. It now checks for those various tags that, oh, okay, this is like the main section of a page or the main section of a page or the heading of a particular section and all that, right? So basically, these H1s help in search engine optimization. Yes, you can make use of CSS to give it the style and whatever you want to do, right? Yeah, even with the H1, after giving it a H1 tag, you may still not be convenient with this particular style, this particular default of being bold, and then this particular size. Maybe you want it a bit bigger, right? You can still make use of your CSS. But when that bot lands on your site, it understands that this is the first heading. This is heading 1. This is like the main section. So the main essence of using those tags is just to help in your search engine optimization or help in the search engine optimization of your website or your web application. I hope that makes sense.
Okay,
great. All right. Okay, so basically, I think we have run out of our time for today. It's 9 p.m. and like I said at the beginning of this call, I respect time so much. That was why, if you notice, we started at exactly 8 and then it's 9. And yeah, we didn't cover what we intend to do. Should I call it a fault? Not really, because we still were able to learn something new, something different, or yeah, add up, right? So maybe tomorrow we can pick it up from here and then match up with what we have cover for tomorrow, and then we'll see how much we can drive with it. I hope that makes sense. Isaac raised his hand. Yeah, Isaac, kindly
Please, I want to know, how can we get the recorded version of the training?
Okay, I'm sure. Definitely. We'll drop it on YouTube. Or there's a YouTube channel already, and then share the link with you. You can watch.
Okay, sir.
Great.
Okay, sir.
Thanks. Okay, someone else raised hand. You can mute yourself and talk.
Okay, another thing I want to ask, I'm pleading. Is it
Yes.
possible that you can extend this class, like let it be more than 1 week? Because I've asked my friends based on their experience and what they're telling me, they say that you cannot even use 1 month to learn HTML alone, talk more of HTML, CSS, and co. Is it possible? It just does that favor.
Actually, we have some sort of a premium class that goes on where we do teach all of this for a very longer period of time, 3 months basically, and then but you know, should I say, most times people don't appreciate something when it's even free and all that, and then there's still a lot of resources going in to make sure all of this work, right? Like the Zoom, for instance, if you're very conversant, you know, Zoom free version lasts for just 40 minutes, and we've had more than 40 minutes to tell that it's a paid account. Yeah, I want to say a very big thank you to the founder of our Clear Academy. If you check, I'll share her website on our group chat. She sells courses. She was the one that helped in making this work. She single-handedly paid for the account we're making use of for this call. And then, so yeah, I hear you, Fidelia, I hear you. We'll look into that as well. And then if maybe you're interested and you really want to join, you can see opting for one of our other classes. I'll also drop our platform. You can check our platform. She sells some courses and some materials where you can download, and yeah. So I hear you. So
All
any
right,
other
thank you.
question?
Excuse, sir.
Yes, please, go on.
Okay, sir. Please, like she rightly said, but I would have suggested if that could be more expensive for you to offer us, why not extend the time to 2 hours?
Okay, I'll also look into that. Maybe the next session we can try 1 hour 30 minutes. You know, the thing again, it's still
Because we may
down
likely
to,
have to ask some questions if
yeah.
this opportunity can be given to us.
Okay, we'll look into that as well. I will look into that.
Okay, can I please ask a question?
Yes, please, shoot.
Okay, you actually have to apply some of those things, even the live server, and it is still installing. But then I cut off from where you were connecting to the browser, where you were able to display the output of what we type from the
VS Code.
the Android to from the VS Code.
Okay, great, right? So basically, right, because I'm not making use of the live server, all what you need to do is just go to this is a folder, right? This was a folder we created, and then we now created the one. Then this is the file.
Yes.
It's just a simple process. Click on it, double click. You see, it will just load up and open on the browser. Let me close this once again. So let it look out here. So this is where we are right now, right? Let me go to that folder. I'll click. Immediately I click, you see, it just opened up my browser. But now the challenge is because I'm not using a live server, anytime I make a change, I'll have to come manually and refresh. But if you install VS Code, let's say, live server, once you install it, when you search for it, you see this install button, click on it and install, right? So maybe when next you're opening your code, instead of going there to go and click, I can just write, maybe I can come, if you can see the bottom of my screen, go live, you definitely see this go live. After live server is installed, you see this go live. Or if you're not seeing it, you could just right click, then open with, with file. Yeah, you could see open with live server, but this is the name of the live server I'm currently using. 5 server, right? If you see it.
So I can use the plugin, I can as well download it.
Yeah, it's an extension. So all what you need to do is on your browser, click this extension section and then search here. There's a search bar on top here, live server. Then it will load. Make sure you're connected to internet. You just need to connect to internet and install. Yeah, you can install this particular one here, live server. The one I'm using is a bit different, but you can. This one works perfect.
I have installed live server. It's still
Great.
installing. It's installing
All right.
right now.
Right. So now, once you click on this go live, yeah, it's trying to go live. Maybe let me just install this one down. I did. Okay. If I click on this, you see live server install. You see installing. This shouldn't take so long. If your internet is good, this is not supposed to take this long. Hey, taking too long. Pop up. Great. All right. So this was open. Oh no, it was open with the previous when I tried to open it the first time. So I just want us to do this together. So live server is installing on my system, taking time. Okay, but once it is installed, all what you need to do is go live. Currently now I'm live. That's why I have this link. Yes, good. Let me stop this guy. Wait. It's installed. Yeah, it is installed now. So if I want to make use of it, I can come here. Look at it, go live. You see, click to run live server. So here I click. It is starting. You can see starting. So yeah, immediately it will just load up and open your browser. Then you will see the URL will change. So now see if I make a change. Let me shrink this guy. Okay, let's say maybe I make a change to this. Let's say maybe I delete all of this and then I save. See, I didn't have to come here and refresh. See, the change just took effect. Let me undo. And then here I save. You see, the change just took effect. So that's the essence of the live server now, right? So once you edit to save, you don't have to go there and click refresh, go back, click refresh. It's quite annoying. Yeah. Any other question before we jump off for today? Tomorrow, I'll try to cover up what's left today, and then we'll look into what we have for tomorrow as well. Okay. Any other question? If there is no question and you feel the class was actually resourceful, kindly drop in the chat section if you enjoyed the section, right? So I'll know how to prepare for the next class. If it was awful, please tell me it was very awful. See, Sam, it was very awful. And then I'll prepare for it next time and make sure I have a better class, right? But if you think it made sense, please tell me, okay, it made sense. If you have some concerns, please tell me, please, next time, try to do this so that I can catch up with you and all that. Okay, it was amazing. Thanks, welcome. I'm in the chat section, please. Your comment matters so much to me because it will help me prepare for the next section. So if it was awful, please tell me it was very awful. Okay, thank you so much, guys. Thank you. All right, and then the WhatsApp group is also open. Feel free to drop in your messages there. If you have questions, you can drop them there, right? So for now, in absence of anything else, I want to say a very big thank you. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys. And see you guys
Thank you so
in class
much.
tomorrow. Sorry?
All right.
Bye.
I said thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right. Have a
Bye.
wonderful evening. Bye.
All right.
Okay. See you guys tomorrow. 8 p.m. sharp. Please, I respect time. All right.